Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, we're going to be talking about what is good about America. So, we came here as immigrants, and I have now been in the US for more than 30 years. And so, as immigrants to America, there are certain things that I think are really, really good about the US. And I'm just going to list a few of them. So, the number one thing for me is calling 911 and the emergency services in the US. If you ever end up in an accident, or if your house is on fire, or you need an ambulance or something like that, you can call 911, and the vast majority of times they will come to your location within a few minutes. And so that is amazing. Now, I have had to call the police a few times, and the police never came. So the police have to prioritize, right? So the police have to decide what's more important and stuff. And I guess apparently when I've called them, they didn't think my calls were important enough to ever show up. So the police is a different matter. But in general, if you need an ambulance or the fire truck, they will come to you within minutes. So if there's ever an accident or anything like that and you call 911, they will show up and you will, get good treatment. Or if you need to go to the hospital, the ambulance will take you to the hospital, that kind of stuff. So, because there are countries in the world where their emergency services are just not that good. If you call the emergency, sometimes nobody comes at all. And other times they might come, but it might take several hours or something like that. So that's one thing that's really good about the US. The other thing that I have been very spoiled with, and this could be a good thing or a bad thing, but living in US, the one thing that you have almost everywhere you go is AC. Everywhere you go, you have air conditioning, you have heating. I mean, basically, you are always in climate control, so you're always at a comfortable temperature. Now, it's good because you're always comfortable, but it's also bad for several reasons. But it is one thing where like you're pretty much always comfortable. You're never hot and you're never cold. Well, I shouldn't say never, because there are times where you are hot or you're cold, but you can easily adjust that. You can easily adjust your climate to be more comfortable. And I mean, I guess the bad part of that is that, well, you get spoiled, like me. I'm now spoiled, which is very bad because, I get uncomfortable very quickly. And of course, the other bad thing about this is the pollution, right? It's not necessarily very good for the environment, but it is nice to have climate control. Basically, I mean, pretty much everywhere you go, it's climate controlled. Another item, of course, are the houses in America. Now, once again, this is kind of a good thing and a bad thing, but the houses in the US are huge. I mean, they're gigantic. They're mansions. And, they're also like mini mansions. So houses are huge and they're very luxurious compared to many places in the world. So kind of building off what I said, I mean, most houses have air conditioning, most houses have heating, you've got running water, you have electricity, you have dishwashers, you have washing machines, you have dryers. You have all of that stuff that comes with houses in America. So really, the houses in America are very luxurious. So that's a good thing. But again, I mean, I guess there is a bad part of that too. Once again, it's not exactly the best thing for the environment. It is quite wasteful. But as far as luxury and comfort, the houses in America are pretty nice. They're pretty luxurious. They're very big, more than one bathroom. So in that sense, it is nice. So the interstate highways in the US are also very well done. You can drive basically almost anywhere in the US. So the interstate highway system is pretty good. So that's been done very well. And their connection of roads is actually pretty good in the US. One of my favorite things, of course, about living in the US is the diversity of food choices and the diversity of dining. I mean, the one thing is it's you can get so many different types of food here. You can get so many different types of cuisine. I mean, the typicals, of course, like Chinese food, Japanese food, Korean food, Indian food, of course, Middle Eastern food, Thai food, Mexican food, food from Peru. there's just so many different types of food. Ethiopian food. I mean, there's just so many different types of food that you have access to in the US, which is awesome. And overseas, in many different countries, you still have access to many different types of food. But I feel like the US really has a huge, huge availability of different types of cuisine. So that's actually one of my favorite things because I love different types of food. And Italian food, I mean, there's just so many different types of food, and it's just, they're just so delicious. And it's so nice to have access to all the different types of foods available. Now, my family came from India, and it's so funny whenever you get this group of Indians together, they always complain about the corruption in Indian governments. And they just, oh my God, for like 2, 3 hours, they just complain about the corruption of an Indian governments, right? So that's kind of my next point is in America, there is corruption in the government, but it's not as much. So you have less corruption in the American government than in some other countries of the world. So I guess, that's also a good thing. um, you do have less corruption in the American government system. And in the US too, if you do get caught, you'll probably end up in court at some point. So that's another that good thing about the US. The other thing too is that there is a lot of money in America. I mean, there is so much money in America. It's just mind-blowing. Now, not everybody in America is rich. However, you have access to the possibility of making lots of money in America. So if you work hard and with enough luck on your side, because believe it or not, you do need to have good luck on your side. I know a lot of people who live in America who just have so much bad luck. I just can't believe how much bad luck these people have, and they never have money. They just have a lot of bad luck. So people who are focused and determined and work hard in America and who have good luck on their side, I mean, they can be super rich in America. I mean, just super, super wealthy in America. It's mind blowing how much money there is in America. So that's another big thing about America, I guess, is that you have access to all that money. And there is that opportunity to earn that money. There's no war in America. There hasn't been a war in America, I mean, for a very, very long time. Overall, there's peace in the US, meaning that there's no war. So if you're coming from some place in the Middle East, which has had war for, I mean, years or decades or whatever, America, yeah, there's no bombs flying over the US. I mean, overall, America is actually a pretty violent country. There's a lot of violence in America, there's a lot of crime in America, but there's no war. So you don't have to worry about getting bombed today or something like that. Which, I mean, actually, sometimes you have to worry about getting bombed because we do every once in a while have bombs in the US or whatever, gunfire, but it's not war. We're not at war in the country. We're not fighting each other or anything like that. And also, the American passport. Having an American passport and having the citizenship for America, it opens all kinds of doors. It's kind of sad, but you essentially have so much privilege and prestige for living in America. And having an American passport, you can travel to so many places. You know, it's a little bit, I mean, it's very unfair, but it is something that you can do with an American passport. You just have a lot of privilege that comes with that. So those are just some of the things that I find that are actually really good about the U.S. So if you guys have any comments, or if you guys can think of any other things that you would like to include, leave them in the comments and what you think is really good about the U.S. But those are just some of the things that really stand out to me. Living in America for more than 3 decades now, those are some of the things that stand out to me. Thank you guys so much for listening, and take care.